So there's the 3 different poses. There's 2 of that officer that's in there. You can see there's a fair amount of detail on the guns themselves. And of course, both of the limbers are pretty much the same, and there's 4 wheels that are fairly much similar. So we're going to be working with those guns. You have a chance now to see all the workspace going back and forth here. And we'll get our officers out. Again, we're going to switch back. And we have an officer with a large plumed helmet there. You got an officer in a short coat with the peak cap. And another one here with a long coat. You can just see here, there's the, I'll put it on this side, it's a little easier to see. You can see the short coat cuts off on him here. There's an edge line. These 15 mils are a little hard to hang on to, but there's an edge line right there. And then the long coat, you can see it goes all the way down and covers most of the saddle cloth. And then there, with this officer set, we've got 3 standing officers, and they're the ones that I'm going to place on the base stand. And it looks like there's one guy who's here, he's pointing, but my intention is I'm going to see if I can slide a flag into his hand, put a flagpole in his hand, and we'll make him on the Army command stand, or wing command. So we'll be able to put all of the miniatures to work in some kind of a form or way. Okay, we have 2 regiments here of these foot troops. And they're being organized in battalions, or brigades, I apologize. Being organized in brigades. And so you have a command stand with an officer, a flag bearer, and if I can find him here, a musician. Okay, there's our trumpeter. Okay, so, and then there's a variety of poses. I'm going to put out sort of 2 or 3 of the main ones here of shoot, firing, loading, marching, something kind of like some part of loading, although I think they don't quite understand how smoothbore weapons operate when they put them in a pose like that. We have the marching guy with his hand down, and there's a marching guy with his hand up, or that might be the guys with the hats that has that. And we'll look at one of the other regiments in a moment. There's a total of 8 stands, 3 on each stand. So 3 by 8. 24 miniatures will be in each of the brigades. And you can see here, it's almost like the World War I German, I call it a Pickelhelm. And you just got the point on top there. There's a brass front piece. Apparently it's made of black leather or black colored leather. So these lads will look pretty good. We are going to be going with a certain color scheme on them. Details out here with too much more difficulty. Our first one's going to be red shoulders and collars. The second one's going to be white with light blue shoulder and collar. Third one's going to be red with white collar. And the fourth one's going to be white with a dark green collar. So they'll alternate. There'll be a red and a white shoulder board in each of the hats and the helmets. and then different collars to identify everything separately. Coats are going to be a mixture of grays, browns, tans, and light browns. So there's our, what I call them, the Pico helm, or the helmet infantry. Now apparently these the Russian troops that they first went into the Crimea, it was the first year or the first deployed troops that had this fancier brass front plated helmet. And the later troops, which we're going to have a look here in a moment, the later troops arrived with the peak caps or soft caps that were green with a red band around them. So let's get one of them out now. Okay, so here's one of our other brigades coming up. Again, each brigade's going to have its own little command stand. So you can see a flag bearer there. There's an officer and a musician, in this case a drummer. And they have a charging pose, kind of with bent legs, and something of a charging pose that's just walking. Another kind of a charging pose where the weapon's been pointed up, which is intelligent, with a smooth bore. That's the keeps the ball in there. Again, something kind of a loading. I am not sure what that is, because if you point the weapon down with a smooth bore, you're just as likely to have the ball come tumbling out. Another loading pose, much more proper. Loading pose, and we've got a firing pose. That's pretty much it for how these guys appear. And you can see here, they all have that little sort of peak cap. Can I get that? Oh, nice in focus for half a second. They have a little peak cap that's on them that they're wearing. Try not to turn them too fast here. Very simple equipment, mostly white belts, various light colored pants that's on these. There's the officer. Oh, there we go. Nice pick out on him. And we got one of our charging guys here. See if I can get a nice pick out on him as well. There we go. Wonderfully detailed models. And we will be doing our best to keep the paint thin so as to take advantage of all the fantastic sculpting that's been done on these. So once again, there's going to be 2 in the helmets and 2 in the soft caps here that you see. And the soft caps apparently arrived in the second year or late in the first year, sort of the replacement forces, replacement troops. So I suppose technically we could have them mixed in helmets and caps. But what we're going to do, again, for differentiation of the different brigades, is we're going to have each one on their own in hats and helmets. I have 2 forces I'm going to be working on here. In horse, they are hussars. With the sword forward, something with the sword back. And then there are hussar officers that go with this. We have 3 poses of 3 of each of those. Again, lots of good detail on these guys. You can see you're going to be able to pick out the face detail features fairly easily. Definitely closer to what I would call an 18mm miniature. These are the hussars. They go on 2 per base on the 1 inch by 1 inch square bases. And the hussars have a command grouping of a musician, flag bearer, and an officer. So here we have our flag bearer and an officer with this. Oh, sorry, these are my Uhlans. Apologies. These are the Uhlans. We have a musician and a flag bearer and the officer. So these are the Uhlans. They have the Zapka hat. You can see the pom-pom on the top of his hat there, making him distinctly different from all of the troopers that will be in this unit. Let's see if we can get that into focus. Will it grab? Doesn't seem to want to grab him. Likewise with the hussars. So that's the Zapka, the Uhlans or Lancers in Zapka. That's a command group. And likewise for the Hussars, we have a command group here. Now, our Hussar group, we're planning on making them based on the Napoleonic unit of the Pavlograd Hussars. They wore turquoise and dark green pelisse and dolman, and lots of yellow braid. So we're going to be some interesting turquoises and greens. There's our Hussars. Little flag. Looks like I've got a sword I need to work on a bit. The swords are coming out from the packages a teeny bit bent there. But once again, we got good detail. You can see the pelisse over his shoulder. The dolman's looking pretty good as well on this side underneath. So I think that officer's going to turn out pretty nice. Obviously, there's a bit more cleaning to happen. This is our first look, first overview. I wanted to have the first glance at these and let Chris have a chance to see what he's getting here. These are one of the Uhlans here, and another. Let's see if I can find our third pose, the lance tip being pointed up. So there's the Lancers or Uhlans, and they are going to be the Lithuanian Uhlans in dark blue collar, white zapka, and crimson piping. So the zapka is coming up white is going to be kind of a neat feature. Looking around at them, they kind of have a maroon colored general uniform on those. And we'll switch cameras again. And there you have it, everyone. We have Uhlans, Hussars, two sets of men in the hats, two sets of men in the helmets, our command group, and some artillery. There you go, Chris. We've sorted them out, had a chance to look at the first of them. Next step is going to be cleaning, and we'll be getting into that possibly tonight.